Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are looking at 10 celebrity marriages that ended because of a movie. Let's get into it. Till Death Do Us Part doesn't usually mean much in Hollywood, on screen or off, but for some actors and their spouses, the very act of making a movie can be the thing that ruins their marriage. Sometimes, their other half takes umbrage with what they have made and calls it a day, and sometimes, the many pressures of filming crack the foundations of the relationship. However, most often, it is the sparks flying with a co-star, especially those found in romantic roles, that set fire to actors' marriages and blaze the trail to divorce. 10. Borat. Pamela Anderson and Kid Rock. Sacha Baron Cohen's Borat was a cultural phenomenon in the mid-2000s. Posing as the fictional Kazakh reporter, Cohen and his crew crashed headlong through an unsuspecting USA, dismantling cultural norms and prejudices alike while setting a new standard for the docu-comedy genre. In the film's closing sequence, Borat tracks down the long-term object of his affection, Pamela Anderson, in the hopes of making her his wife. His public proposal doesn't go well, and after he tries to kidnap her in a burlap sack, he is tackled to the ground by security while the Baywatch star escapes, although everyone had a good laugh at her role in one of the movie's few scripted scenes. Her husband at the time, Kid Rock, didn't see the funny side. Rock stormed out of a private screening of the film, calling Anderson a whore and leaving her behind. When she caught a lift home, she found him destroying their photos. She filed for divorce the next day and, according to Cohen himself, put the reason for divorce as simply Borat. 9. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Doug Liman's action comedy Mr. and Mrs. Smith, in which a husband and wife discover they are both assassins working for opposing agencies and must go to war, was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's first film together. And by all accounts, the rocky relationship depicted on screen paralleled other romantic deceptions happening in real life as the married Pitt found a new passion with his co-star. After filming for the movie Wrapped, Pitt and his then-wife Jennifer Aniston announced their divorce, ending a 5-year marriage in a flurry of media coverage. While the Fight Club star was adamant about not having had an affair with Jolie, the pair were nevertheless seen together more and more frequently during his divorce proceedings. Jolie's own bodyguard later confirmed that there had, in fact, been a budding romance from the start on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Jolie and Pitt were openly flirting and shared plenty of alone time making out with each other in their trailers, and this, more than any other factor, contributed to the untimely end of Pitt and Aniston's marriage. 8. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branagh. The 1994 movie Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is not remembered fondly amongst horror fans, as it took a beloved Gothic novel, a cast of great actors including Robert De Niro, John Cleese, and Ian Holm, and cocked it all up. Perhaps it is merely the way things go. Or maybe it had something to do with the actor-director's sights being set elsewhere. Branagh had cast the then 27-year-old Helena Bonham Carter as his in-film love interest, Elizabeth Lavenza, and he was as taken with her in real life as his character was on screen. There was only one problem. Branagh was married to fellow thespian Emma Thompson. Thompson found out about the affair while Frankenstein was being made, and despite feeling half alive, kept things together and on the down low so she could finish filming Ang Lee's Sense and Sensibility. By the time the film was released, their marriage was no more. 7. Days of Thunder. Tom Cruise and Mimi Rogers. Despite his all-American gloss and sheen, Tom Cruise has had a fair number of whirlwind, high-profile love affairs throughout his life, including with the likes of Cher and Penelope Cruz. And some of them have even overlapped. Such was the case for his now iconic relationship with Nicole Kidman, which began on the set of Tony Scott's NASCAR movie Days of Thunder, while Cruise was still married to Mimi Rogers. The Top Gun star had a good idea who he wanted opposite him from the outset. Meeting Kidman personally and sweeping her off her feet, Kidman was smitten from the outset and fell madly, passionately in love. And the feeling was mutual. Cruise divorced Rogers during production and proposed to his new girl just a few months later. 6. The Misfits. Marilyn Monroe and Arthur Miller. Marilyn Monroe's final movie, the John Huston-directed Western The Misfits, was not just the end of the iconic actress's screen career, but also her marriage to the film's writer, lauded playwright Arthur Miller. An odd couple from the start, Monroe and Miller had a turbulent marriage, with Miller attempting to turn America's beloved blonde bombshell into a housewife. Miller met German-born photographer Inga Morath on set, and the pair grew a little too close for comfort, fueling Monroe's substance abuse issues. Houston had to shut down production so that Marilyn could get clean at a clinic, and despite coming back to finish the movie, the physical and emotional demands had taken their toll. In January 1961, just a few weeks before the film's U.S. release, the couple was granted a divorce on the grounds of incompatibility. 5. Northern Lights. Brandi Glanville and Eddie Cibrian. The name LeAnn Rimes may not mean much to people today, but back in the 2000s, Rimes was a multi-hyphenate, regularly placing top 40 singles on international charts and featuring in films and TV shows like Coyote Ugly, 2000, and American Dreams, 2003. Rimes stars as a young pilot who is thrown together with Eddie Cibrian's homicide detective on a cold case that soon morphs into a steamy romance. And the pair fell for each other in real life, too. There was only one problem. Cibrian was married to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Brandi Glanville. This created much drama on the reality show when Glanville found out about her then-husband cheating on her. And shortly after the news broke about the on-set infidelity, Glanville and Cibrian were divorced. Cibrian and Rimes, however, got hitched in 2011 and are still together today. 4. Cleopatra. Elizabeth Taylor and Eddie Fisher. Joseph L. Mankiewicz's historical epic Cleopatra brought together some of the biggest names in Hollywood, pairing Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton as Egyptian Queen Cleopatra and Roman General Mark Antony. Appropriate, then, that the actors were portraying one of the most famous romances of all time because they soon fell for each other, no matter how much they wished not to. But when the production forced them into close proximity, Taylor abandoned all reservations and fell madly in love. The pair's on-camera kisses lasted longer with each take, to the point where, even after calling cut, Mankiewicz couldn't break them up. Despite Taylor being already married to singer and actor Eddie Fisher, she found that her and Burton's attraction was so powerful they were unable even to try and stop it. Her divorce was finalized less than a year after the film's release. 3. Proof of Life. Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid. Proof of Life may not have found a permanent place in the broader film canon, but for one summer, at least, it was big news. The story of a hostage negotiator falling for the hostage's wife became famous for all the wrong reasons when Russell Crowe, the aforementioned negotiator, and Meg Ryan, the aforementioned wife, shared a romance on set that jeopardized Ryan's marriage. Unfortunately for everyone involved, the media got in on the story early and made a meal of it, ensuring everyone knew the smallest of details, especially Ryan's then-husband Dennis Quaid. The couple announced their separation in the summer of 2000, the film was released in the winter, and their divorce was finalized the following year. 2. The Rum Diary. Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis. Portraying renegade newspaper reporter Paul Kemp, Depp starred opposite Amber Heard as Chunalt Holdsworth, a PR consultant's wife whom he has a passionate affair with. Soon after the film's release, Depp divorced Vanessa Paradis and entered a very public relationship with Heard. But, while Paradis, Depp, and Heard were tight-lipped for years, despite rumors swirling around potential unfaithfulness and the suspicious timing of Depp's divorce, the highly publicized Depp versus Heard trial in 2022 uncovered the truth of the matter. It turns out Depp fell for Heard while still married, during their first proper scene together on The Rum Diary, in which they kissed passionately, going far beyond what was expected. 1. Titanic. Linda Hamilton and James Cameron. Titanic is a love story for the ages, taking the tragedy of the titular boat sinking on its maiden voyage and spinning it into a human tale about a working-class American hustler and upper-class English lady falling for each other at sea. Unfortunately, things weren't as romantic behind the scenes, as director James Cameron grappled with a monumental production that would ultimately kill his marriage. Cameron had worked with Linda Hamilton on Terminator and T2, Judgment Day, 1984, 1991, and the pair shared a relationship in the 90s that culminated in marriage. However, when Titanic came along, the director passed some of this pressure onto his wife. He was, in Hamilton's words, terribly insecure that I was going to ruin it for him somehow and couldn't handle the success when the film was released. Despite Cameron's on-set romance with actor Susie Amos, who had a minor part in the film, it was the pressure of the film itself that Hamilton cites as the thing that caused their relationship to fall apart behind the scenes. So there you have it. Have any of these shocked you? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.